Hello everybody. Today I'm going to teach you how to use our new computers to connect to our new printer. As a lot of you have noticed that some of the things are a little bit different this year with our new technology. The first thing you need to do is make sure that you know how to connect our laptop to the computer through connecting it to the All Conicas button in the printing setting. So first, select print by either clicking the print button in our tool menu, or you can press Control P, or you can right click and connect to the print button. When you do this, several things will pop up on the screen. One of the things that'll pop up will say, what printer do you want this to go to? And simply select that and make sure that you hit the All Conicas print button. Now, if you do not have that button, you need to make sure that you put in a red ticket that will go to our technology department so that they come and install it on your laptop. For some reason, that didn't happen all the way for about half the computers that went out this year. After you do that, you might want to check to see, do you want this to be a one-sided or two-sided paper? And you do that by checking the specifications on the bottom. And that is important because sometimes you print it out and you have maybe like 50 pages and you don't want to use all 50 pages. So you can change it to front and back in this area. You also can do multiple pages to one page. For example, if I'm going to print out the grades for everyone in my class and I have, 110 kids I'm printing grades out for, I might do 4 to a page, and that will save on pages. Next, you need to sign in to the printer or the copy machine and select the assignments that you want to print out. So the cool thing is our IDs that we were given, if you flip to the back, have a number that's associated with you. I covered up part of it so that you can't see my special number. But when you go to the copy machine, you'll notice a little section on the top right, and it looks like you should be able to swipe your card, and you can. When you swipe the card, it will pull up your information and your specific assignments that you sent to be printed, and you can use that as a shortcut method to signing in. Now, if you don't have your card, you can go ahead and put the same username and login information that you use to sign on to your computer. It's the exact same. If you have not set up your card yet, you simply swipe your card the first time and the computer will say, oh, well, you don't have a connection to your ID and your username. Do you want to set this up? Select yes. And then all you have to do is put your login information in and say okay, and it will automatically connect to your card. Before printing out anything, you're going to want to make sure that you have the paper you want to use in the correct place. So if you have a special type of paper, like maybe you want this to be printed out in green, there's a side on the right hand side of the machine that you can pull down, and it looks like this, and you just simply put that paper in. When you print, you select where you want that paper to come from so that it'll run through that section. If you are just doing regular paper, or if you want to put the green paper into the regular spot, you'll pull out drawer 3. In drawer 3, there's two sides. The right side is where the paper gets taken out of first. Ideally, both sides would be filled up in the copy machine. So if it ever says that it ran out of copier paper, you're going to want to put paper on both sides just because it's polite for the people who come after you. Remember that the outside of the paper, the wrapper, cannot be recycled in the recycling bin because it has like a waxy coat on top of it. That has to be recycled in a different spot. So do not put that into the white recycling bin. When you are ready to print and you've already signed in, the next thing to do is figure out which papers or which assignments that you sent to the printer you want to print. You can select the button at the very top, the first check mark on the left, and say print everything. But sometimes you only want one thing to be printed. So if you only want one assignment to be printed, or half of the assignments, you go through and you just select the ones that you want to print by touching the screen with your finger. If you decide that you do not want anything printed and you want to actually go to the copier or the scanner at that time, if you notice at the very top left, there's a picture of something that looks like a printer, like a graphic. Touch that button and it'll take you to a screen that says, do you want to access this device? And it'll show your name and it'll tell you that your access is approved. And you hit access device with your finger. At that time, you are able to see a lot of different types of programs that you can do on the printer. One of them is that you can copy, scan, it can look at your user box, it can look at your address book, and other activities. Simply choose the place that you want to go. Mainly it's going to be copy and scan by touching your finger to the screen. So let's say that you want to scan something into your computer. This is important because sometimes you pull up something on Smartboard, or you want to send papers to the center, or a parent or student was absent a day and you want to send them a copy of whatever you had through the internet, or you want to send something to a colleague of yours. There's many reasons why you would want to have some kind of assignment or paper scanned. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit scan. When I touch that button with my finger, I'm going to be able to see something that says me, and whoever you are, you will click that button so that the information will be sent to your email. Now, if you want to send the information to somebody else, you will actually have to go through the alphabet that's listed to find their last name and click their name that will be listed. And now that's only for your colleagues that are in your building. If there's somebody else that you want to send the information to, you'll have to type their address at the very top. If it's a parent or student that you're sending the information to, the best way is to just send it to your email, and then once it pops up in your email, you can forward them the information through your own computer. Right now they don't have everybody's name listed because the printers just got put into the building about a week ago. So once they do have everybody's name entered into this area, it's easy to accidentally click somebody's name, and you don't necessarily want to send them random scans from the printer because they don't know what it's about, and sometimes it could be very confusing. So if you accidentally click their name with your finger, simply touch their name again with your finger and it will unselect them. Once you have the people selected that you want to send the information to, you have to decide whether or not you're going to scan it as one-sided or two-sided. This can help you save time and energy because sometimes it's hard to figure out how to send information if you're only doing one-sided. Something that I learned only a couple years ago myself. So if you have a front and back page, it's easy just to put in the paper on the top tray. Once it's in the top tray, you're going to hit print. Make sure that the first page that you want to be scanned is on the very top. If you only have one-sided papers to be scanned, you set it up the same way. Put the papers at the very top of the tray with the first page going through on top. Now it's time to make copies. If I hit the copy button at the very first screen when I log in, I do not have to hit the button that's on the bottom of the shelf in front of you. However, if you are on the scanning section, as we just were, the easiest way to get to the copier is to hit the button at the very bottom of the screen. Once you're there, there are tons of different options that are available for you, and the best way to use some of them is just to experiment when you're working. However, some of them are very basic. First of all, you're going to want to figure out how many copies you need to make. So at the very top, you're going to hit number of copies with your finger and type in the amount. If you're experimenting, you might not want to print out 20 different pages, but choose one copy at a time. Next, you want to figure out how you are scanning your paper in to make a copy. Again, usually the best way to do this is to put the paper you are scanning in on the top tray. However, if you have a book cover, you're going to want to put it in the middle section, and I will show that to you a little bit later. So once you have your papers ready to go, figure out, are your papers one-sided, and you want to have copies that are one-sided? If this is true, you're going to hit the 1-to-1. If you have one-sided pages and you want to make it front and back for your students or yourself, you're going to hit the 1-to-2. If you have a two-sided paper, so a paper that is front and back, and you want to make copies that are only one-sided, you're going to do the 2-to-1 button. However, if you have a double-sided paper and you want to print out a double-sided paper, you're going to hit the 2 to 2 button. After you figure that out, sometimes you need to make your picture smaller or bigger from your original to what you are making a copy of. And if you notice, that's where this section right here is important. And the best way to do this if you're enlarging or shrinking an image is to practice a little bit at a time, one page at a time, before you make all your copies set. Also, sometimes you need to make the image or the print that is on your paper darker or lighter. And if this is the case, this is the area where you will play around with the image. After you figure that information out, you might want to go to the finishing section of your paper. In this section, you will figure out if you want your papers to be stapled or collated in a certain way. Depending on what the purpose is of your print, you might want to have your papers collated with all of the same assignments together. And in this case, I would want to say all ones get put into one area, all twos get put into another area, and etc. And this is important if I am making a lot of copies for the week and I'm going to hand students copies each day of the week. I don't want to give them everything that's mixed together, or I don't want to have to separate it myself. However, if I'm setting up multiple pages to give students a packet, I would want it to be printed out as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, etc. Now, if I want that to be stapled, I'm going to go over here to this section where it says staple. And you can have it stapled at the top corner, or you can have it stapled like a book. And that, again, depends on how you print it out. Also, you'll want to make sure that if you don't want it stapled, that it's turned off. Another area that I find very important when making copies is the section that allows you to shrink the pages to a 2 to 1 or larger ratio. And this is just like the option that we gave you in the computer area when we talked about it. But if you print out your pages and you're like, there's a lot of wasted space here, I can save some trees, but I don't really want it to go to my Google Classroom, simply put the ratio down and it'll combine pages to the front and back of your paper. And it's very useful in cutting down waste. Now we need to go ahead and scan in our papers effectively for our purpose. If we have sheets of paper that are not in a book, the easiest way is to put them in the tray that's on the top of the computer. However, if you have a page that's connected to a book, you're going to want to open up the computer lid and place your book so that it is in the right configuration as shown on this page. Then you're going to hit scan for both of them. This will then print out your page to the tray on the left. However, sometimes you need to print your paper on a certain side of the paper that you're putting into the computer. So, for example, if you already have something on one side and now you want to add something to the other side. To make sure that you do this without screwing the paper up, the best way is to put a star on a blank sheet of paper and put it either on the tray on the right or the tray at the bottom, depending on where you're going to put your paper to be uploaded into the computer, and do a sample print. When the print comes out onto the tray on the left, if your information is on the star, you know that the blank space, or the blank side of your paper that you are printing onto, needs to be where the star was when you loaded the paper. Next, I wanted to show you 3 common problems that would happen if you're trying to use the copy machine. One of the issues is when you get a paper jam. Now, paper jam happens to all of us, and the best thing to do is to follow the instruction screen that the printer will actually show on the top. This will give you a tutorial of showing you where the jam is and how to open the different components to get the jam cleared. I didn't want to purposely put a paper jam in, but I did open different compartments just to show you that the screen will even show you that when a compartment is opened, and to show you some of the different hidden levers and sections that are on the copy machine that often get paper stuck in them. For the next 2 issues, you might have to ask the librarian or the head secretary if they have extra toner cartridges or extra staples for the printer, because that's the other issues that happen that are difficult when you're trying to make your copies. So if you run out of staples, go and ask them if they have extra staples to put in. And then on the very left of the copy machine, the left panel, it opens. And on the panel itself, there's going to be instructions on how to reload the stapler. If you are confused at any time, please ask one of them to help, because that's what they're there for, is to help us when we're in our time of need. They are awesome. The second thing is, if I have to replace the toner cartridge, I have to first go get one of them to help me find one. And if I can do it myself and I have confidence, I open up the front panel as shown in this picture, rotate the toner in the correct direction as shown, pull out the old toner, throw it away, open up the new toner, take off the tape that's on the new toner, put it in, and turn it in the opposite direction to make sure that it clicks in place. Now we should probably be putting the toner cartridges somewhere else, but we don't have anything else place to put the used up cartridges other than the garbage. So I hope this tutorial has helped you in how to use the basic functions of the printer slash scanner slash copy machine. If you have any questions, please feel free to find me, and I hope you have a great year.